All right, episode 6, Meshes and Sculpting. You don't actually have to watch the prior videos in the series. If you want to start here, it's not a bad place to start. Hopefully by the end of this video, you're comfortable enough to just kind of go off on your own and learn by exploring. If you don't feel comfortable, watch the videos before this. I'm just going to go through tying this back into the prior videos and then maybe cover a couple of tools. Also, what remeshing is and why it's important. And that should be all you need. So let's hop over into Blender. Okay, so I've got this set up with a side view, this is a front view and a top view. I've also got the data API and a spreadsheet open. I don't usually sculpt with these open. I just want to tie this, like I said, back into the prior video. So I'm going to start by adding a plane, and then I want to get the 3D cursor out of the way, so I'm going to hide that. If I didn't talk, I may not have talked about that yet. We'll go over that in the modeling video. It's not super important for sculpting. I'm going to move it over there, GY, up, GY, I want it to be at 1, GX. Okay, so we've got a face with 4 vertices, and let's look in the data API. Where are meshes? Meshes right here. So there's a cube mesh. We're going to ignore that for now. I might come back to it if we got time. It's my demo bust that's hidden right now. So vertices, we got 4, right? 0, 1, 2, 3. And then polygons, we've got 1, which is the face. And if you go into the struct for it, you can see the vertices. It's a list of vertices, 0, 1, 3, 2. So 0, 1, 3, 2. It does them in order. And the positions, you can see the XY positions for these vertices. They don't have any Z position right now. So I'm going to head into sculpt mode, and I'm going to do that. I can do that by going up here to edit mode and changing it with sculpt mode, but I never use this drop down. I always use tab to get to object mode or edit mode. If I need sculpt mode, I hold down control with my pinky, I press tab with my ring or middle finger, brings this up, and I don't even move my tablet or my mouse. I just press 2 because that pulls me into sculpt mode. In sculpt mode, I know I told you I had the tools. I don't love the default keybinds, and I'm still exploring them, what kind of custom keybinds I want. So for now, I recommend using the toolbar. And then once you know which tools you use the most, because there are a lot. Once you know which ones you use the most, then you can figure out a custom set of keybinds and use shortcuts for these. But I'm going to start with clay strips, and this is a really important one. And so just watch. The interesting thing here is in sculpt mode, the data API updates on the fly, but this only updates, the spreadsheet only updates when we go into edit mode. So let's go to, this one was here, let's control tab, I want to see my numbers, I'm going to control tab, press 6 for edit mode. So this is number 3, so that's the last one, that's the 4th one, because remember we're starting at 0. So I'm going to go to here, and it's at, 1, 1, which is right here. So I'm going to control tab back into here, and watch the Z coordinate as I start wiping. I'm using my tablet right now, and I'm wiping over that. And you can see the Z coordinate is slowly increasing. And if you look over here, you can kind of see it in these. I'm going to go ahead and just rotate this a little bit so you can see that that's heading up. I'm going to turn the strength up, and actually strength is just Shift F, and then you can hover. I'm holding my my tablet, my pen in my right hand, and I'm just moving it back and forth. And so now I increase strength. You don't have to do it up there. I highly recommend pinky on Shift, index on F, and then you can adjust the strength, and then you just tap to confirm. And so you can watch, if you watch that upper left hand or the number in the data API, the Z coordinate is going up, and it is adjusting the other two a little bit. And that's part of just how the algorithm for clay strips works. You'll sort of get used to it as you use it. But that's the big point I want you to take out of this, is that the tools, you're going to use them in the visualization mode, and it's going to feel like you're using them here, and it feels like you're interacting with clay or something. I'm going to click on snake hook, and that lets me that lets me drag it out and really move it around. But what you gotta remember is that you're just using these tools are just different ways of adding or subtracting to the positions of the vertices. That's all you're doing there. And if over here, that none of this is updated, but if I Control Tab into Edit mode, then you can see they update. So that's the big takeaway. Just the connection back to the others. Why I spent so much time on that. Sculpting is you're just changing the positions, this list of positions, and the different tools are just different ways of modifying these positions. You see, it doesn't update on here, updates over there. So, and like I said, I don't actually watch these when I'm sculpting. So, instead of working with a plane, I want to work with a cube, because we typically sculpt in 3D. So I'm going to press X. I'm going to delete all the vertices, and I'm going to do Shift A. I'm going to add a cube, and it's way over here, so I'm going to hit GX. When you create something, it always creates it wherever the 3D cursor was. So we got it here, and look at the side, basically like this. Good enough for me. Yeah, none of this actually matters anymore. I'm not really paying attention to these, but so you can see, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to tab out into object mode. Data API updated. I've got 8 vertices now. Over here you can see there's a lot of different numbers that are overlaid, but I don't know if the indices are big enough for you to see, but it goes from 0 to 7, so there's 8. And we've only got 8, and if I start sculpting on that, I'm just let's go back to clay strips. It's really boring. Not a lot's happening. I mean, I'm wiping over this pretty frantically with my pen, and it's moving, but nothing. It's like if I wipe in here, nothing happens, and that's because there's no vertices there for me to interact with. Oh, and real quick, so I've got my pen in my right hand. I'm hovering right now. If I hold Control and I'm using a Wacom tablet, Control and one of the buttons on the pen for the index finger button, that lets me zoom, and if I hit Shift and that index finger button, it lets me pan, and if I don't use Control or Shift and I just use that index finger button, it lets me, I'm going to zoom out, it lets me rotate. So the index finger button on the Wacom tablet is the how you control the view in the 3D view. Just to Shift for pan, Control for zoom, and then what is this? Rotating with just the no modifier, Shift or Control. Okay, so what I'm going to do to get this to be more interactive is I need more vertices. So I'm going to press in sculpt mode R. That pulls up this grid. I'm in a modal now, kind of like adjusting windows or doing a transform like scaling or grabbing. And I'm just moving my cursor so that the grid gets bigger and bigger, because I don't want a lot of resolution to start. I just want a little bit more. And we'll take it to here. And I'm going to tap to confirm. And so that didn't do anything. That just adjusts the remesh grid. R just changes the resolution of the remesh grid. That gets used when you press Control R. And so what it did is it just remeshed, and you can see it added a whole bunch of vertices over here. Before I had 8. Now I have 128. If I start using clay strips now, I get a little bit more interactivity. It's still pretty blocky. It's not like high enough resolution for me to do anything fun with. So this is where I'm going to press R again. Now I'm going to make it nice and small. And I'm going to click there. It's not big enough for me yet. Or not even small enough for me yet. I want it down at like 0.6-ish. And now nothing's happened yet. You can see it's still blocky. But if I hit Control R, now I have 10,500 vertices. And now it's starting to behave a little bit more like clay. And so clay strips is the tool that I mostly use for adding details and stuff. But I want to demonstrate an issue to you, which Remesh is going to help you fix. I'm going to use the snake hook for that. So what snake hook lets you do is this is something I use at the beginning of a sculpt a lot when I really want to just kind of block out something, and it lets you just really drag a whole area. So I'm going to drag a lot of this. I'm going to stretch it a lot, kind of like it's silly putty. That might be too much. If you drag it too much, you can't really fix it. But now if I go into this and I want to add some little details to the facer back with my clay strips up here. That doesn't look good. That is not behaving. That's not behaving like it does over here, where I've got this nice, like, square-shaped brush. So in order to do that, well, let me go into edit mode and show you the reason for that. And I gotta make the I gotta change the size of the vertices back down. I have them at 20 pixels for just so you can see the indices. But okay, now we can see the vertices. There's the reason that I was having that problem. I'll go back and I'll show you. The reason that this is happening is because there's not enough resolution in the vertices there for me to move vertices and get the nice squares. Whereas over here, there's a pretty even spacing between all of them, and I've got a good resolution between them. So what remeshing does is Blender goes in, and it's like it takes like a grid, and it runs it from one side, from like the top down, and then from the side, and then from the other side, or from the front, and it will remesh so that I have resolution kind of evenly spaced throughout my mesh. So I'm going to hit R just to check, and that's a pretty good resolution. I like that, so I'm going to tap just to confirm, and then I'm going to press Control R. You can see it does change. When you remesh, some of the detail changes a little bit. But if I Control Tab into edit mode, now you can see I've got nice, even spacing of my vertices. I also, because I made it, I did that drag, I made it bigger. Now I've got 39.1 thousand vertices, so I've got more than the 10.5. You got to keep track of that. If you have a slow computer, the more vertices you have, the slower things are going to get. But if I Control Tab into sculpt mode, now you can see I'm not having any trouble with getting the sort of brush, the nice brushy feeling from the clay strips. So I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to go back and let's see how much time we're at. We're at 12 minutes. You can pretty much stop here and start playing around on your own if you want. I think I might do common tools in a different video, and that'll be the next one. I've got this really ugly bust that I'll maybe try to demo some tools on, and I'll see you in the next video.